Hey guys, it's Mrs. Salsetta. I'm here to show you how to finish your work if you missed November 30th, which is Monday. So for this date, November 30th, we're just completing our energy Peardeck. This is going to be a self-paced Peardeck. So it says today we will continue learning about potential and kinetic energy and start learning about forms of energy. Complete the Peardeck, link attached. So this is the only link that you need for today's assignment. Go ahead and click on that. And as you guys know, Pear decks are kind of self-explanatory, but I just want to review a couple things with you. So when you get to the Pear deck, you're going to start by, of course, doing your stress check. And then I want you to reflect over your Thanksgiving break. What is something that you're thankful for? Or who is someone that you're thankful to have in your life? Make sure you do a full sentence. So I'm thankful to have my husband in my life because he helps me around the house and he's a sweet person. I'm thankful for my son's health. I'm thankful to have food on our table for Thanksgiving. So go ahead and think of some things you're thankful for. And then today we're talking about energy again. So energy is really just the stuff that makes stuff do stuff. Energy is what causes change. Energy is the ability to do work. So I want you to remember this law. It's called the law of conservation of energy. And it says energy cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed. It just changes forms. So the energy, when you eat an apple, you're not destroying the energy in the apple, you're transferring the energy into your body. So we don't destroy energy, we don't create it, we just transform and transfer it. So I want you to think about what we've been learning about potential and kinetic energy, and you're going to draw an example of potential energy right here where 1 is, and an example of kinetic energy where 2 is. So for potential energy, you could do somebody standing on top of a diving board, or an apple hanging from a tree, somebody holding a ball in their hand, or you can get creative and think of something else, okay? Many students are doing a ball sitting on top of a hill. And then for kinetic energy, anything that's in motion, so it can be a ball flying through the air, an arrow going through the air, a car moving, a person running. So draw an example of potential and an example of kinetic energy. There's a video you're going to watch. You click here and watch the video. But I want to remind you that potential energy is stored energy in an object. It increases as height increases. So it also increases as mass increases. So potential energy increases with height and with mass. Potential energy is usually an object that's still or very high up, and we say that it has the potential to start moving, and that sometimes helps us remember. So you're holding the ball. If you drop it, it would start moving. So as you're holding it, it has the potential to start moving. It has stored energy inside of it. And once we release the ball, gravity pulls it down, gravity does its job, and it turns into kinetic energy as it's moving. So kinetic energy is the energy of motion. And if you're ever asking yourself, well, does this have kinetic energy? Just ask yourself this other question. Is it moving? If the object's moving at all, then it has some amount of kinetic energy. And at times, an object can have both potential and kinetic energy, like when we were talking about roller coasters. At the top of the roller coaster, you're still moving a little bit, so you have a little bit of kinetic energy, but you're very high up and you're going very slowly, so we have more potential energy at times, but sometimes you can have both. So looking at these people on the mountains, which person has the most potential energy and which person has the least potential energy? And you need to remember that potential energy increases as height increases. So the higher the object, the more potential energy. So you're going to hit T and type the name of the person with the most potential energy and type the name of the person with the least potential energy. This one you're going to circle the book, either the book on the shelf or the book on the floor, to show which one has more potential energy. And just remember, the higher the object, the more potential energy. The more mass, the more potential energy. Next one, what type of energy is found at P? So this is P, holding something in your hand like a ball. It's not moving. So is this potential or kinetic energy? We have the potential to drop it and let it go. So you're going to circle or highlight your answer. And then at Q, when you drop it, as the ball's falling, is that potential or kinetic? So kinetic is energy of motion, potential is stored energy. Number 3, what type of energy is found in this picture? The boy's holding the bow. He hasn't released it yet. He hasn't released his arrow yet. So is it in motion? Is this kinetic or potential? And it says, what would happen to change the type of energy? So how could we make a turn from one type of energy to another? Number 5, what type of energy is found in the books on the chair? So the books are sitting still on the chair. So is it moving? Is this potential or kinetic? What type of energy is found when the books are falling? So as they're falling, they're in motion. So is this potential or kinetic? And then number 7, the car is speeding down the highway. What type of energy is found in a speeding car? So is it moving? Is it potential or kinetic? Then the airplane is landing on the runway. What type of energy is found in the plane? So ask yourself, is it moving? Is this potential or kinetic? So I want you to think of the types of energies that you've heard of. Right now we've been talking about potential and kinetic, so definitely write those down. But are there any other types of energies that you've heard of? And don't go look it up, just tell me honestly which energies you've heard of. Then move on. These are the 7 forms of energy. We have mechanical, radiant, sound, chemical, electrical, nuclear, and thermal. And we can remember this by using the acronym Mrs. Scent. And then click here to watch a short video. So you're going to write what Mrs. Scent stands for. The first type of energy we're talking about is mechanical energy. This is the energy of motion or position. It says it's not 100% efficient. Much of this energy is lost as heat. Some examples of mechanical energy would be moving machine parts or compressed springs. So which picture shows an example of mechanical energy? You'll move your star. Electrical energy is moving electrical charges. This has to do with electrons. This is a form of kinetic energy because electricity is always in motion and it's always constantly traveling through the cords, and we call this a kinetic type of energy. So examples would be the power lines, the electricity that goes through power lines, or lightning. So you're going to move your dot. Which of these is an example of electric energy? Then we have radiant energy. This is any energy that travels in waves, and they have electrical and magnetic properties at times. So radiant energy would be like X-rays, light, the microwaves that cook your food in the microwave oven. So which one of these is an example of radiant energy? Heat and thermal energy. So heat or thermal energy is really the motion of the molecules. So the faster the particles move, the more heat or thermal energy they have. So an example of this would be fire. So you're going to move your light bulb. Which of these is an example of thermal energy? Nuclear energy is stored in the center of a nucleus of an atom. This is the most powerful type of energy. This is a type of potential energy. This is stored within the atoms. So we call this a type of potential energy. Some examples would be fission, when the atoms are breaking apart, or fusion, when the atoms are forming. And a really good example of nuclear energy is the sun. So it keeps the sun going, is nuclear energy. Which picture shows an example of nuclear energy? And then we have chemical energy. This is energy that's stored in the bonds. When the bonds are broken, energy is released. So examples of this are food, coal, wood. And it says here, which picture shows an example of chemical energy? Now that you've reviewed, what type of energies do you know of now? List as many as you can remember. How are you feeling about this topic? Are you confident about energy, not confident in the middle. And if you finish everything up, make sure that you've turned in your vocab. I put an announcement on the stream that's graded. Make sure you always check your Skyward at least once a week. There's always the enrichment on my stream for practice and studying. And then I'd like you to click here so that you can do the word wall activities and review potential and kinetic energy. Definitely take some time to review potential and kinetic energy using this website, and you can use as many of the interactives as you like. Most of the kids like the airplane one. It's pretty fun. If you have any questions or trouble, then make sure you comment or email me, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.